Good morning. I'm off on another little adventure. What's different for me this time is that I'm going on a overnight backpacking trip, and I'm going by myself. What I'm really looking at this time is to see how do I fare with my Durston X Mid 1. A light, very lovely light tent under 2 pounds, and I'm really anxious to give it a go. This is a beautiful lake up here, and I've never camped here, but I have been here as a day hiker. Well, I've just had a bite to eat, and I've been setting up my new Durston X Mid 1 tent. Well, I set it up at home in my backyard, and it went up just in like less than 5 minutes. But I've come here and there's tent platforms, which I guess is common in some backcountry campsites. And it's a little bit more of a challenge. I'll show you why. And it's called a trekking pole tent. It's not a freestanding tent, which would definitely work better with these tent platform issues. What you're supposed to do is to start with the short side and stake out the 4 corners. Then you go down to the other end, the long end, one long end, and you stake out again at a 90-degree angle. Then you go to the 4th corner, you pull this corner out and stake it at a 90-degree angle. So basically what you want are the 4 corners down near the ground and make a perfect rectangle. Then you just undo the zip, put in your trekking poles. They're inserted into a reinforced section in the tent with the pointy side up. Extend your pole to make the tent taut. Then stake out the short part of the door. Well, there's so many things that I like about this tent. I want to show you a couple of them. I really like that there's a separate free-hanging inner tent. I really like the idea of that because fly can be set up first, and then you can put the inner tent in if it's raining and not get it wet. The same thing, you can fold up the inner tent, put it away in a dry spot in your pack, and then you can put your fly into an outside pocket so that it won't get the contents of your pack wet. I really like that. You could also use it without the inner tent if you wanted to. Just going to go in. I've been just blowing up my thermarest. I have a short thermarest because I'm a small person and it saves some more weight. But you can see there's loads of room. I'm not quite sure where I'll put it, probably about here. At the foot end, I've got lots of room too. There's a lot of room outside in the vestibule to put my pack. I'm going to shut the door quickly. There's quite a few mozzies around here right now. So right now there's none in the tent, and I'd like to keep it that way if possible. The tent comes with 4 of these friction pegs that can hold really well in the ground, and these 2 little ones I think are for using by the door. I like the attention to detail on the stitching, really very well reinforced. All of the stitches on the tent look really, really good. It's made out of a polyester, so it is supposed to keep its shape when it's wet, unlike what a lot of nylon will stretch. But this is not supposed to. I'm not hoping it rains tonight so I can test that. I just wanted to bring it out and try it in a different environment than my backyard, and this was a good opportunity. I really enjoyed my hike out here today, and I'm the only one in this little 10 site backcountry campsite. Well, this has been a really great day, beautiful evening, and I'm about to climb into my little tent, anxious to see how the night goes. So I'm going to go in and have a read and warm up a bit. So how did my first night go in this little Durston X Mid 1? I was trying to see if I could possibly squeeze 2 people in here, and maybe I could if they were both small like me. I figure you could do a head at each end, 2 mummy mats. You could probably do it, but it'd be close. So what did I really like about this tent? Well, I really liked that it was very long. It provided lots of room at both ends to put in gear that you want inside. I really love the vestibules. Plenty of room on both sides. The height was also really excellent. I'm not sure what the actual height is in here, but it's substantial. There's 2 pockets, one on either side above the door, and I see there's 2 loops at each end where you could hang a light or whatever else was light enough that you could hang it. Small things that I like are this magnetic catch. Works really well for the outer door. The inside door of the tent is just with some little springy pieces here, and you can see here that there's clips to hold the sides of the inner tent out towards the fly. It works really well. Just pulls a little bit of space out, but still lots of room for the air to get around. So despite all the moisture on the inside and the outside, the fly is still as taut as it was. Now, we didn't have rain and we didn't have wind. How it does in that remains to be seen. But it's just exactly how it was put up when it was dry. It's great, and any water is drained off, just dripped down onto the ground, well away from the inner tent. What I could do, if need be, if I needed to use this as a shelter for cooking, is I could tie out the large part of the door and fold back the small part, reverse them, and there's room here to get the flame away from the tent itself, and I can still sit under here and be comfortable. I really, really like that idea. It's just so practical and workable. So all the things I really like about this Durston tent is number 1, ease of setup. I love that there is so much space between the inner tent and the fly. The ease of setup I will do again at home and do a quick little video on that, so you can see when I don't have to mess with all of these ropes on the outside, the cordage on the outside of the tent. Number 2 is the vestibule space. I haven't even got this staked out quite right, but you can see there is just so much room on either side here. I don't even know I'd need that much space. But it provides excellent air circulation around the inner tent, and that's a real plus. The last thing you want is your inner tent getting wet, and I don't think that's going to happen here. Number 3 is I love the space inside. It is narrow. It's a bivvy type tent, there's no doubt, but there's a tremendous amount of space at the top and the bottom. It's very long. It just gives you lots of room. You're not crowded at all, having items that you really want near you in here. Having 2 doors, one on each side, is a plus. You can get out either way depending on how you've had to pitch your tent and what's going on outside, the wind direction. That's a plus. The zippers all work really well. and they have a reflective cord on them, so you can find them easily in the night. A small amount of interior storage, but there's room on the floor, so it's not like you really have to have it up there. And I say the little loops that you can suspend a light from. Has a great bathtub floor with enough wall space on the sides to make you feel really safe, and it feels good. You could put a ground sheet under. I do have a small ground sheet I could use here if I felt I needed it, or I knew I was going to a really swampy, wet area. I totally appreciate that this tent can be set up with the fly and the inner tent kept dry, and then it's so easy just to clip it in. It only takes not even a minute. The more times you do it, the more familiar, of course, you are with the process, and the quicker you get. There's lots of tie-outs on the side, both on the left and the right, and the front and the rear, all four sides have a tie-out if you need them for wind. This is the fourth tent I've had in my 40 years of backpacking or backwoods camping, and I tell you, it's top drawer. I really haven't got anything negative to say about it. The weight is excellent. I can manage it. It's under 2 pounds. If I could really have my way, I would have had the X Mid Pro, which weighs just over a pound, but that's just was not in my pocketbook. But at just under 2 pounds, this is totally doable for me at this point in my life, and I'm very, very pleased with it. Would I recommend this tent? I would. I really would. I am really looking forward to using it again, and can't wait to get out and go on a multi-day backpacking trip with it. Overall, I can't really think of anything I don't like about this tent. Too bad, but it's time to dismantle camp and pack up and head back home. Been a very successful camp out. I'm really, really pleased with it. I'll show you the tent all folded up. So here's my tent, here's my hand. Don't have a really big hand, but just for perspective. Nice and small. Under 2 pounds, perfect. Packs away like a dream. Well, I guess if we're going to look at is there a negative to the Durston tent? It's not the tent itself. The one peg that was into the ground, and it's not looking like it's in very good shape. So, all right, so there's one negative, but tent pegs I have, and they may not be quite as light as this, but they're not much different, and I think they'll stand up better. Okay, I'm all packed up and ready to head up the trail. 2 thumbs up for Dan Durston's design.